Hey, you super players out there. Ben Lodice, aka 5 Buck Lunch, coming at you with a yellow Broly deck list. Before we get into that, though, I just wanted to give everyone a heads up that I have a little survey down in the description, trying to figure out what people think is going to win Nats this weekend. I figure it should be a lot of fun, get a little prediction in there. I'm sure we'll all be wrong, but it'll be a little fun thing to do. So speaking of Nats decks, the deck I have picked out to win Nats is the yellow Broly deck. Some variation probably won't be this exact list, but this is just my version right here. So for those of you that don't know, the yellow Broly leader, when it attacks, you grab a card from your life, draw a card, and that's how it awakens and how it draws cards. Awakens at 2, awakens, tap, untap 2 energy. And then the awakened side has 3 effects. When it attacks, you draw a card. You can choose one of your opponent's battle cards once per turn and switch it to rest mode. And once per turn, you can choose a life, add it to your hand, choose one card, and switch it to active mode. So one card means could be your leader, could be a battle card, could be energy, whatever you want. So the way this deck works is it's a counterplay deck, so you have lots of counterplays and arrivals you play on your opponent's turn. It's especially specialized around tapping your opponent's cards, so whether it's through Great Ape, Bojack, or a bunch of other effects, you have a lot of ways to tap your opponent's cards on their turn and make it so they can't attack with them. The nice thing about this deck is it's got a lot of flexibility. You can go control with the all your counters, or you can go more aggro with the apes and play aggressively, depending on what you're matched up against. And that's one of the big things I think that's going to help this deck a lot, because it the meta is very varied right now. You have control decks like Purunga, you have faster decks like this and U6. So I think the ability to be flexible is going to be very valuable this weekend in Nats. So without further ado, let's go through the deck list. Starting off with some extra cards, we have our one of Cold Bloodlust. That's all we can play. Card's still broken, and this is pretty much the only leader that can play it. 2 Flying Nimbus for our negates. We don't need too many negates since we have so many ways to tap our opponents down. This is just kind of a backup plan against decks that go wide really quickly. 2 Planet Vegetas. Usually this is going to search Great Ape, Raider's Warp Cry, but it can also search our Super Combo, search our turn 2 play. It can search a whole lot of things in the deck, so it's very useful. Also, it allows us to attack with our Great Ape Bardox and then untap them at the end of the turn so that our opponent can't attack them. 4 Senzu Beans, 3 Zeno Buttons. This deck is pretty greedy on energy. You're going to be wanting playing things on your turn and then have energy open on your opponent's turn. And this allows us to use arrivals when we essentially have no energy. 2 Hidden Power East Supreme Kais. These go very well with Mirror Creator Absorbed, as well as any of our other attackers that don't have Double Strike. 4 Pure Art Son Goku. The reason we play this super combo instead of one of the more recent ones is because it is a Saiyan, so we can search it, and it is a 4 or less life super combo because we're going to be wanting to use our mirrors. 3 Goku Black Unforeseen Darkness. When you play this card from your hand, at the end of the turn, if there is a card that is both blue and yellow in your energy, draw 2 cards, choose 1 card in your hand and place it in the drop area, then choose 1 blue or yellow energy and switch it to active mode. So basically what this is going to do for us is allow us to have a turn 2 play and yet still have energy untapped for our abilities. Beerus Fickle God. This just comes in play as the energy untapped if we have another dual color, which we have quite a few. 2 Great Ape Son Goku Saiyan Instincts. Active main 2, send this card from your dropper to your warp, draw 2 cards. So this just allows us to get in some draw power late in the game when we want to draw extra cards. For what it's worth, it also untaps with Planet Vegeta. It's got 15k, so if we have to put more pressure, we can use it for that too. 2 Swift Retaliation Cooler. Counter. If your leader card is yellow, negate the counter and play this card. And then when you play this card, draw 1 card. If you have 6 or more cards in rest mode, draw 1 more card. So not only does this draw cards for us, but it's the only effective counter in the game. A lot of people won't see it coming because people don't expect counters ever since Battering Laser got negated. So this works very well with Mira and Hidden Power East Supreme Kai to allow us to kill our opponent through negates. 3 Champa the Trickster, 3 Undying Spearing Son Gohan. I'm not going to go through their effects again because it seems like every deck I play has these in there, but they basically allow us to either tap or return to hand our opponent's cards in response to them playing them. 1 of Frost Deadly Poison. This is kind of a quasi-Cold Bloodlust that we play so that if we've used our Cold Bloodlust, we can still negate our opponent's abilities. Uh, Counterplay battle card your opponent is playing is played in rest mode with its skills negated for the turn. Then draw one card. Then if your life is 3 or less, choose up to one of your yellow or blue energy and switch it to active mode. So this is just really useful because a lot of times we want to negate things. Once again, though, be very careful. Just like with Bloodlust, this won't work on deflect people like our counter plays will. So you got to be careful with that. You can't use this on like Gogeta, for instance. 3 Resonant Agent of Destruction Bojack. So it's a blocker, a rival, blue-yellow for 1 yellow. When you play this card, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode, and then mill 1 card from your opponent's deck. So this is kind of also in playing with the Great Ape Bardock's Raiders Warcry. It allows us to tap things on our opponents. It puts a strong card on the field, and it's a blocker in a pinch. 4 Great Ape Bardock Raiders Warcry. So this is kind of the workhorse of the deck, kind of the centerpiece card. It's what we use to defend ourselves and to attack with for the most part. Double Strike Auto. If your leader card is yellow at the end of the battle, which you combo with this card from your hand, play this card. When you play this card, draw 1 card, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. So there's a lot of things this card does. Oh, one more thing to point out is it's a 2-cost combo, so you have to pay 2 energy when you combo with it. So basically, you can put it in play for 2 energy. It's a 20k double striker that draws a card and switches one of our opponent's cards to rest mode. Very strong card, especially in this deck. This is kind of my own edition. 2 copies of Son Goku Father and Son. It's a blocker. Auto, if your opponent has 3 or more energy and Son Goku Father and Son isn't in play in your battle area. When your opponent's battle card is switched to rest mode by a skill, activate this skill. You may play this card from your hand. So the reason that I'm actually surprised we haven't seen too much of this card being played, but it's essentially a free 15k blocker you can put in. And you can put it in play on your opponent's turn if you use Raiders Warcry or Bojack. Or you can put it in play for free on your turn by using your leader skill. So it's just a free, cheap, extra battle card we can put in play that's a blocker. We can use it for surprise on our opponent's turn, or we can use it as an extra attacker on our turn. 2 Mirror Creator Absorb. This card's pretty much always going to go in Broly Awakened Threat. It's over realm 4, has deflect, and when it attacks, it gains 5k for every card in your warp. It's just a massive attacker. Your opponent pretty much isn't going to be able to combo over it. You can untap it with your Broly Awakened skill, so it can attack twice. And you can give it double strike with the Supreme Kai. Janemba Infernal Intruder. This card is a 5-drop critical. For 1 blue, if you have 3 or more energy and no battle cards in play, you can play this card from your hand. It also has an active main skill that has to do with other Janembas, but we're not going to deal with that at all. So basically, if you have no battle cards, it's a 1 blue to put in play a 20k critical. Pretty simple. A lot of times we're not going to have a whole lot of battle cards in play, especially if our opponent outs our Great Ape Bardock. Usually we don't have another card in play, so Janemba could just come and play for 1. And then we're going to play the Secret Rare Power Batara. Pretty simple. If your opponent has 6 or more energy, it's only, or 6 or more things tapped, which we can tap things very easily with our deck, so that's really easy to do. When it comes in play, you can tap 4 things and draw 4 cards. Pretty simple. It's got triple strike, and we can untap it with our leader, so we can make it essentially dual attack triple strike. Very strong, especially in this deck, synergizes with a lot of things we're doing. So basically, a lot of times what we're going to do is our turn 1 play is Planet Vegeta, or just attacking and untapping. Our opponent can't stop us from drawing cards. And then turn 2, usually we're going to hold up energy for either a Raiders Warcry or a counterplay, depending. And then turn 3, we just kind of expand from there. You're going to want to play more aggressive with your Bardocks if you're playing against something like Porunga that's going to try and stall you out. You're probably going to have to play him when you're attacking rather than defending and trying to get your engine going. The nice thing is the deck is pretty quick when it wants to be, so against decks like Porunga, you can usually get to the point where you can kill them before they go off. And then if you're playing against a like go wide kind of deck, like a baby deck or a U6 deck, you're going to play more defensively, play your Raiders Warcries on your opponent's turn to tap their guys, and then attack them with them. All in all, the deck is extremely flexible and has very good win conditions. So I really think this deck is going to do well going forward, and it's my pick to win Nats. Once again, in the description below, please go down and take the survey and pick what deck you think is going to win for Nats. And we'll go ahead and see. I'm sure we'll all be wrong because that's how it always works. Some weird random deck that ends up winning. But yeah, go down, hit up that survey. Good luck, everybody, in Nats this weekend. Everybody that's going to Chicago. Once again, go out there, play some Super, and have some fun. Go in at Nats.